I have a testimony, and I've been through it myself. I beat fentanyl addiction. I beat meth addiction. I've beat other opiate addiction. I've beat alcoholism. I've stopped smoking cigarettes. Although I still vape now, I got to stop again. But I've done these things in my life. I've relapsed. I've done all this. So I feel I'm qualified to speak on these things. What's up, guys? You've seen the thumbnail and the title. Let's get right into it. This is going to be a controversial topic. I know some people are going to disagree with me. Some people are going to agree with me. You know, I'm not really here to argue with anybody. I'm here to give you my thoughts, my opinions. If you've been on my channel for a little while now, you know I keep it real and I speak my mind. And these are my thoughts. Is addiction a disease? That can go a couple of different ways. But the short answer is no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think it's a disease. When you look at something like cancer or AIDS, something that you literally cannot choose to get rid of. You can't choose to you can't just wake up one day and choose to not have cancer. You can't just wake up one day and choose to not have fucking AIDS. You get what I'm saying? So when you look at it from that aspect, no, it's not a disease. And you most definitely can wake up one day and choose to get clean. It's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. It is not easy. I'm not saying it is. But if you look at it in the form of like a mental condition, I think that's a better word for it than using... See, I think a lot of people get the concept misconstrued by disease. Let's not use the word disease. Why don't we use the word mental condition? Because I think it is a condition. It's a mindset. Because when you're trying to get clean and you've been facing drug addiction for all these years or months or however long you've been on it, it's easy to... I mean, that's what addiction is, right? It starts to get in... You start to form a very bad habit. And when you try to stop that habit, it feels like a disease. It feels like, damn, I can't shake this. Because you've been doing something for so long that your body has become so adjusted to. And when you try to take that away, your brain and your body goes through major changes. And it feels like a disease. But what you're going through is a mental condition that you've put yourself through. So you've been doing drugs and stuff for this long. And whatever it is, alcohol, smoking, whatever kind of drug, your body gets seriously dependent on these things, and it becomes such a severe habit that when you take it away, it feels like a fucking disease. But it's a mental condition that you can get through. Like I said, it's not easy. It's a very hard thing to go through, but you can get through it. You can choose to quit. You can choose to do whatever the fuck you want to do. I promise you guys. I preach these things because I have a testimony, and I've been through it myself. I beat fentanyl addiction. I beat meth addiction. I've beat other opiate addiction. I've beat alcoholism. I've stopped smoking cigarettes. Although I still vape now, I got to stop again. But I've done these things in my life. I've relapsed. I've done all this. So I feel I'm qualified to speak on these things. I'm not just some guy that's never been through it speaking on this shit. I've been through it before. I can speak on it. And no, I don't think drug addiction is a disease. I think it's a mental condition, and I think that people have heard this concept that addiction is a disease, and a lot of times people will use that concept as an excuse. Well, I gotta feed my disease. It's a disease. I can't beat it. It's a fucking disease. And that is the biggest mental defeat that you have sold yourself, is that believing that it's a disease. As soon as you believe something like that, you've lost in your head. And it also gives you it almost enables people, I feel, to, you know, I'm going through addiction. I can't get clean. It's a disease. And other people are just like, damn, yeah, you know, people that ain't been through it, yeah, it's a disease, man. Like, it's damn close to a disease, I'll tell you that. I'm not downplaying drug addiction. I'm not saying people that haven't done drugs and you know people addicted, I'm not saying that them quitting is an easy task, because it's the hardest fucking thing I've ever done in my life. And I'm a strong person, mentally. So don't think that this is just easy for them to quit. Don't go back and tell them, hey man, I heard Hustling 101 talking about it ain't no fucking disease. You can quit. It's a lot harder than just you can quit. That's not the point of this video. It's hard to quit drug addiction. Like I said, it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. All I'm saying is it's possible. You can beat it. And I don't think it's a disease. I think it's a mental condition. And if you look at it from the concept of what I just talked about, cancer, you can't just choose to not have cancer. You got to go through medical treatment, real shit. You might die. You might not make it dealing with. Now, that's a disease. That's a fucking disease, man. Drug addiction, I don't think is a disease. I think if you take the right steps, now it's definitely a process. Definitely a process. But if you take the right steps, look in the right areas for motivation, my channel being one of those, because I'm never going to preach that you need or that it's a disease and you can't beat it. I'll never preach that shit. So if you like this type of content, this motivational content, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and stick around because I drop it all the time. Another thing I want to throw in here is I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. I just tell you my experiences of what I've been through, and I share my thoughts with you guys. You can take it or leave it. You can choose to continue to think that addiction is a disease and something you can't beat, or you can choose to say, you know what? Fuck that shit. I can beat this, and go beat it. It's not easy. It's very hard. It's very hard. But you can do it. You can make that decision. You can make that decision. You know, a bunch of doctors will tell you that it's a disease and this, that, and the third, but I just can't agree with that. I can't agree with that. I refuse to agree with that. And I've struggled with addiction my whole life. You would think I would just break down and fuck it, it's a disease and believe it, right? But I'm a fighter, guys. You ain't never going to convince me that I can't do something that I put my mind to. You know? And I feel like anybody can develop that mindset. I've never been, or I wasn't always that way. I wasn't always that strong-minded dude that just goes out and tackles any obstacle that comes in front. But I've made myself that way. And really, it started when I beat my drug addiction the first time. I figured out that I can do things. I can do things I set my mind to. And that in itself became an addiction. I was like, damn, I can really do anything I put my mind to. And as soon as you find that shit out, it's over with. You know you can beat this disease or whatever the hell you want to call it, drug addiction. You know you can, but you got to start. You got to start. I think a lot of us are equal in this world. And you build your mental strength just like you build your muscles in your body or whatever. You build that mental strength and you will get to a point where you are a strong-minded motherfucker. You know, you may not be that way right now. You may not feel that way right now, but I promise you, you can get to that point. But you got to start doing things. You got to start working on things. Like I said, guys, I wasn't always like this. I wasn't always that strong-minded. I used to be very weak-minded. I used to drink alcohol all the time, do drugs every fucking day. When the weekend hit, I was blowing all my money on getting high and drunk and chasing girls and doing this, that, and the third. And that's a weak mentality. I was weak. I was being weak by doing that. And one day I fucking woke up and said, hey, I'm beating this shit. And I did, guys. And I just did it again, but I've done it twice. But I did it. I did it. You know? So I'll never buy that disease shit that doctors try to sell you, man. They say that because there's such a high failure rate when it comes to relapse and things like that. People relapse all the time. I've done it myself. That's a testimony to show you that I'm not special. I am human. I've relapsed. But I got the fuck back up and I got back on the saddle and we're doing this shit again. And I'm going to always have that mindset and I will never give up. I want you guys to develop the same mindset. I want you to take inspiration from my channel. Now, with that being said, those are my thoughts on, is drug addiction a disease? This video has been long enough. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you get value out of my content. And as always, peace out.